Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Hands Across the Water. We're in the middle of an international break. I think where some of us are wanting Rangers back pretty quick. Other ones have sort of thinking it's been a good break away from Rangers because they're not ruining our weekends on us. But well, the Teddies will be back soon, and we're going to chat about all things Northern Ireland. With Scotty here, a bit about Scotland as well, and all things Rangers. So we're looking forward to that. Baz, first of all, mate, it's good to have you with us as usual.
Oh yes, and get my good old Northern Ireland tap on the night. I was hoping about 2 wins coming into this, but obviously not. So all good.
Tough ask to go to Germany, but well, I thought they'd done pretty well. But we'll chat about it as we go on. Scott, what about yourself, mate? It's great to have you on. Hope you're keeping well, and it's hopefully you enjoy yourself on here with us, mate.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm thrilled to be on.
You're more than welcome, mate. As I say, Scotty, what we're going to do, ask you, obviously, with the people in the comments and stuff, a lot of them from over here in Scotland as well. So I'm sure there's ones in the comments that already know you, mate. But for those that don't, do you want to just let us know what you're about in SM Media and what you guys do?
Yeah, so SM Media was kind of founded. It was round about kind of COVID time. Obviously, I was one of several people who was like, I kind of want to start talking about football. There isn't the avenues for that, particularly from a kind of if you don't have a journalistic background. So started on my own kind of website and channel talking about kind of Scottish football. That led on to kind of things like golf, horses, football, cover a lot of Scottish football. Obviously Rangers are at the forefront of that as well. But yeah, it's more my kind of avenue to explore what I want to talk about in the kind of landscape as well. Like as I say, I've could talk about sport with anybody. So I thought, why don't I just do this in my spare time? And it's turned into pretty much a second job. So yeah, we cover a lot of kind of wide range of stuff. So yeah, it's more, but it's what started out initially as my idea to kind of talk about football and my kind of give my point of view, turned into this thing that's become.
That's great. It's a bit like ourselves, Scotty, isn't it? Because I say, being Barry, we just thought to say we wanted to chat about Rangers, obviously, because we do it together all the time in the house anyway. And I'm sure you're the same. You're chatting football with your mates and stuff, and you're like, it's just about sort of going, I'll dip the toe in the water, and it's going well for me. It's going well for us too. So even though, as you said earlier before we started, you're good at chatting shite like ourselves here, but people must enjoy it, mate, because they seem to tune in.
Yeah, as I say, it's building an audience, and thankfully, it's kind of 5 years I've been at it, and it's getting to stage. If it wasn't attracting people, I wouldn't have lasted 5 years. But it's certainly got an audience, and yeah, I mean we're growing by the day. So again, and obviously getting to speak with the likes of yourselves and other people, it's good to get different ideas and different kind of landscapes as well. So yeah, it's brilliant it means you're interacting with new people on a daily basis, which is the point of it, to be honest, isn't it? You want to talk to people with similar interests. And like when I started, like there wasn't many podcasts about, and now it's like it's the thing. Like when I started, people like you could get down the street and say to somebody, I do a podcast. They'd be like, "What's a podcast?" And now everybody's got one. Like there's one, like my partner's watching one about like cooking, like Hello Fresh or something. So just there's everything's available now. There's a podcast on everything, like Lego, whatever you want. But yeah, football's the kind of lifeblood SME does, the kind of football side of it.
What about yourself, Baz? Anything you want to ask Scotty when he's on? Because it's, as I say, we sort of know the same, don't we? It's jumping into the wilderness and seeing if people wanna listen to you. But it's good to see that the likes of us guys are doing well at it.
Yeah, well, I just want to answer Sniper's. What about you? Is totally bang on, Sniper. So you've got that nailed on, mate. I had the answer, Sniper, on that one. No, Scott, I've noticed you cover the whole range of Scottish football. It's not just primarily, the top teams. You cover right down the leagues, don't you, mate?
Yeah, that was always something that I was quite keen to do, because my growing up, I don't know if you know, I'm from a part of Scotland called Ayrshire, where it's very heavily focused on the kind of junior lower league side of it. There's a lot of people around about Ayrshire, where I'm from, who don't support like Rangers or Celtic, for example. They are Auchinleck, Talbot, Glenafton. Those names might mean nothing to you, but I was amazed just how once I started doing this, just how much of an appetite there was for covering lower leagues in Scotland. And I never really understood just how big it was until I started doing it. Like, I just assumed everybody would gravitate towards one of the bigger clubs, and that's not the case. And I thought, well, there's not really the avenue for these clubs that there maybe is. Like, do you know what I mean? There's not the same level of coverage for the Premiership that there is for Ayrshire, for example. Like, do you know what I mean? You might get a couple of pages in the paper. This was right at the start of COVID as well, where you couldn't go to games. So I was like, right, okay, I can be that kind of bridge between people not getting to games and kind of wanting to know what's going on. And that was like right at the stage where you couldn't go to anything. You were in your house, and like now you can maybe get away with terms of like pay-per-view and things like that. But that time, that was when I first realised, right, okay, that's something we can really, really explore. And with the whole of Scottish football, something I'm quite proud to be a part of with the channel. And as I say, that builds your relationships with clubs, that builds your relationship with players. Like, that's been one of the biggest takeaways I've from the channel. It's been what initially was, I wanted to talk about Scottish football in a way that the mainstream media don't, which is kind of more tactically focused, more kind of what a lot of things have become now. Like, those weren't a thing at the start, and now like adding that into the kind of the wider coverage of Scottish football just been something I've been massively focused on. So that's been a big thing. That's been something I'm really proud of, and that's as long as SM Media is about the whole of Scottish football being covered from our perspective.
Yeah, that's great, mate. I sit there, Baz will tell you, like I'll watch, the Friday night games, and there's always like a Scottish Championship match. I watch, so I actually do and I enjoy watching Scottish football. So the teams, junior teams you're talking about there, I know them, I've heard of them. But it's like it gets a bit of a bad rap. But see, if you're sitting there watching like the last few seasons, I think last season the big one was mostly like Falkirk and Rafe, Dunfermline, all the those sort of teams that are. But it's good. It's an enjoyable watch, as well. And it's, I think Stevie from Four Lads as well. He says the same. He enjoys watching the Friday night Scottish games in the Championship because it's like, I know the Premier League has all the money in England, obviously, and all the glitz and the glam. But going to the Scottish, especially the Championship and lower level and stuff, it's like the football of old. Every player is fighting for every single ball, you know what I mean? And I think we miss that a wee bit in English football now. They don't have that, Scotty, and it's good that you're actually doing what you're doing. And as you say, it's going well because there's obviously an appetite for it. But if people aren't willing to put it in, you know what I mean, and you've went, well, I'll do it. If others aren't going to bother, I'll do it. And I suppose that must be good for you. You made a good feeling when there's others like yourself that are actually interested in that sort of level.
Yeah. I mean, there's things you look at, like, you'll get more like views for talking about like the East of Scotland than you would be the SPFL at times. And it's that, to me, was when I first realised, right, okay, that's kind of where we can kind of focus on. Like, a lot of people cover Rangers and things like that, and I would never kind of step on their way. It's obviously, I want to talk my own perspective about Rangers because that's who I support. But I'm also like not going to step in their toes. But if there's something different I can do, that's what I want to do. But
yeah.
There's a way to kind of do it. Like, I would be very honest and say I don't think there's any outlet in Scottish football that cover the wide range that we do. But it is, I mean, like, for example, last Sunday, I watched the Rangers Celtic game. Then I went to a women's game at 2:30, and the women's game was far more entertaining than the Rangers Celtic game was. And that was just like, that's when I kind of realised, right, okay, there's different types of football you can watch, but you'll get the same level of entertainment or a better level of entertainment no matter the level you're at. But that's not the same level as a Rangers Celtic game. But I had more fun watching that game than I did watching the Rangers Celtic game. So there's definitely, if you're like thinking, oh, should I go and watch a game of football? No matter the level, there is entertainment there. Do you know what I mean? You can have fun. I mean, it's not, you're not paying a lot as well. You're not like, do you know what I mean? You can go to a game of football, maybe at any level of Scottish football, you can spend about £5. And that £5 is massive to those clubs. Do you know what I mean? And like, do you know what I mean? You're paying what, 30, 40 quid to go to I went to a Premier League game last season, it was like 82 quid. And it was like, I think it was like a one each draw. And I was like, it's just not value for money for me. Like, it's good to see the quality of players that are there, but I can go and 10 minutes down the road and for a fiver and get the same level of entertainment. Like,
yeah,
and that's kind of a big thing for me. Yeah, that's kind of where I think a lot of people maybe look at and go, right. Usually the same, obviously, in Northern Ireland. Like the kind of level of the kind of Northern Irish Premiership won't be the same as what you'll see in the English Premier League, but you'll get just as much entertainment out of most games.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like Baz, he's a Linfield man, I'm a Glen man. Two brothers, and we're completely the opposite when it comes to the football. Who we support over here, but yeah, no, Barry, it's a bit the same as the Irish League level. I think it's you're paying sort of 10. I think it's just over now. Like the Glen's just 11, 12 quid, but
yeah,
Scotty says the money for them, if you're paying that, it's big for those clubs, isn't it? To help them. We watched. Yeah. There's a club called Portadown in our league in the top division, and they've like you seen all their own fans coming out and painting the walls, for the new season. So their own fans come and volunteer and do this and paint that seat and do the grass here and all, and it's a very good community level, Baz, isn't it, at that level of football?
Oh yeah, I mean, grassroots football is, football was founded through grassroots. That's where it all stemmed from before these huge clubs emerged and these big fan bases. It was just normal guys playing in the park, and obviously the Rangers story of the four lads had a dream, but that has to start somewhere, and that has to start at a low level in order for that to build up and pick momentum up. So, we see that over in Northern Ireland, particularly a wee bit more, because even our top league over here wouldn't be at the standard of, a lot of the bigger leagues in England, for example, or the Scottish Premiership, or maybe even the Championship in Scotland. So we're well used to that over here of supporting more grassroots football than probably England or Scotland is, in terms of our top leagues are a wee bit closer to that. But Andy's put up more on the Linfield. Yeah, I'm with Andy Campbell on that one. But you get my point, Scott. Every club starts somewhere. Some get massive out of it. Some just stay at the same level, and it's about supporting those guys, isn't it, Mark or Scott? Sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that, again, like I would say, like I watch every single game that I can see of the Northern Irish Premiership, but there will be times like I will keep an eye on it. And they're Linfield fans, and they always say like that this Linfield player are playing Glentoran today. Watch that, and I'll check it out. But yeah, I mean, I think if you can, as long as you're entertained, watch whatever football you want. Like I'll watch anything. I will watch any game of football. You could actually I could look at a game of football out there and I would watch it. It's just the way I am, and as long as there's entertainment, I'm fine. And it's a good thing as well. Can I do what I do as well? If you're going to a game, nine times out of 10, you'll know people there, and you'll be able to have a bit of kind of atmosphere. You'll be able to have a bit of a kind of chat with them during the game and stuff with them. So it's more a kind of social thing as well for me. Like, even though I'm doing it I'm covering it for the channel, like I will be there and I'll see people, and immediately it's like it's a social event as well for me. And that's where I don't have much of a social life. Football is my kind of social life. So it's that kind of for me as well. But yeah, it's the clubs at lower levels as well. Like they're in the lifeblood of their game is getting people through the gates. So it's all about who you get. And if I can do anything to help clubs and help people get, like, I mean, even during the summer, like my phone will be non-stop with, can you see if there's any clubs looking at players and things like that? So I'll be helping in that regard as well. So it has its advantages, and it has, obviously, there definitely feels like you've got your kind of role to play. So that's what I feel most proud of about the channel, is we've kind of helped kind of build that audience, build that kind of move in terms of kind of a lot more people are going to lower leagues. And I'd like to think we played a wee bit of a part in that.
Yep, 100%, mate. And fair play to you. It's absolutely amazing what you're doing for that standard of football. So it is. And hopefully the clubs, like what have you built any relationships with those clubs down there, Scotty? Surely it'd be good for them, obviously, to get involved with you, because if you're highlighting what they're doing, and it works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like there's like we obviously, like every Monday, my Mondays are mostly spent trying to get kind of information from clubs. So you're talking to clubs near enough every week. So yeah, I mean, like there's pretty much all the clubs have been great in terms of the way they'll give you information, they'll have you at games and things like that. So yeah, I mean that's one of the big things as well. The clubs and most of the clubs in most leagues have been extremely supportive in what we're trying to do.
That's great. Like, as I say, Baz, it's like we sort of can concur with that, can't we? Because we know what it's like. As I say, the Irish League, you're comparing things that are sort of similar. To be fair, if you're going lower down, obviously in Scottish League, you're sort of then becoming the Northern Irish Premiership sort of level, and it's hard for those clubs. But it like what Scott's doing there is absolutely amazing. Like, and there's guys over here does the same for the Irish League level, like, and the clubs do love it because they're desperate for people to sort of show some interest in them. Whether the Premier League can always take over pretty easily. It's the hard work of putting the effort in and sort of going, look, we're still here and come and watch the match. Bring your kids because it's cheap enough to do it. Scott said, "Are you trying to go to a Premier League game in England and you're paying?" Yeah, I would say if you're taking you and your child, you're well over £100 easily just for tickets, and not everybody can afford that, boss.
Yeah, but Mark Dewey put a thing up about the volunteers. The amount of volunteers that is required for these lower league clubs is immense. People taking out their time for no money, just for the love of football, and those are the guys that are supporting these clubs and helping them run a Saturday football match or during the week football match. These volunteers are absolutely crucial. Because these small clubs, Scott, don't have the money to pay these guys, and these guys just do it for the love of their area, the love for their community, and you don't see that so much in the bigger clubs because they're able to fund the stewards or they're able to fund the everyday person that helps run the club. So somebody taking their time out on a Saturday, maybe for it could take maybe 5 or 6 hours, game time before game, cleaning up after, maybe longer than that. And they're crucial, Scott, till the everyday working of these clubs, aren't they?
Yeah, and a lot of these guys will be doing a job Monday to Friday, and then on Saturday their full focus is going playing in the committee, running the pie stall. Like that, there's guys that do everything, like guys and girls. Like I know, like one of the clubs I was at a couple of weeks ago, like they drive the bus to away. They drive the bus like the team to away games. They do the lottery. There's so many things that one person does. It's incredible to be like. Whereas you go to like, for example, the Rangers, there'll be somebody that does that. All those people will have separate jobs. Do you know what I mean? That'll be one person, but these guys can do like 7 or 8 different jobs at a time. It's incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, it opens your eyes when you first go in and you see just what goes on and what makes things tick at a club like a lower club. It's unbelievable. And again, like it's probably something that has been passed from like generation to generation. Like there is, I mean, I know for a fact there is, like there's clubs you go to and there's like 3 or 4 different generations doing the same game. Do you know what I mean? Like it's incredible what goes on. But yeah, absolutely brilliant to see, and hopefully, like as long as we're about, hopefully that continues to grow and grow.
Yeah, 100%. No, as I say, it's that's why we were glad when you got in touch, mate. To come on, and that's what we're all about here too. We went. It's trying to give everyone a chance to to use our platform as well as you doing what you're doing, giving the Scottish clubs a platform, mate. And as I do enjoy Scottish football, but Scottish football it's a weird thing because some a lot of the fans wouldn't watch other like even the ones who support Rangers or Celtic or won't just refuse to watch other Scottish. They're just like, nah, I'm not watching that shit. So so even if your own supporter base of your actual division is even going, I wouldn't watch any of the rest of their shit. It's a hard thing to balance, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like I know there's like people I know who like refuse to watch any other Scottish football, and I'm like, well, it's kind of what I do. So I get, sometimes the quality isn't great, but I can get on board with it. But I'm the sort of person who watch anything. Like I'm good with that. Yeah, the quality's not great sometimes, but whereas like tonight, like we're recording an hour before the Scotland game, and I'm not looking forward to it because I'm just not a fan of Clark ball. But it's, do you know what I mean? We'll just need to deal with it. If it gets a result, fair enough. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's not. I'm not an excited Scotland fan at the moment. It's not. It's very turgid football.
Well, I'll have to say, like the Northern Ireland, it's been hard for us, Scott. We're a very, very young team, and as you know, a small nation. And so we've had Michael O'Neill's obviously came back for his second tenure, and he's basically went, look, we're going a couple of years here of a few tankings, probably, bringing these young ones through. But it started to work because you can see everything clicking for Northern Ireland at the minute. What did you think, Baz, of the two results? It was a good win away to Luxembourg. And then, we'll start with the Luxembourg game first, Baz. I thought the team played very well. A good goal to start, got us going from Reading. We're like 1-0 up, happy days, early doors. Luxembourg obviously got that goal back, and their fans were buzzed. They were up for it, the Luxembourg fans. It was a great, great atmosphere. But we got the win in the end. We got an early goal in the second half to go 2-1 up, and then Luxembourg got a man sent off. And the best thing you can do straight after a sending off, Baz, is go up and score again and finish the game, or seconds after. And a 3-1 victory, boys. So it was good.
Well, any away victory in a World Cup qualifier for any team is a big victory, isn't it? It doesn't matter who you are, whether it's Northern Ireland or England or whoever it is. So, yeah, it was a fantastic result. And what impressed me the most was about Northern Ireland against Luxembourg was the togetherness of the squad and the team on the pitch, fighting for each other, chasing after every ball. You know, the high press, the not letting Luxembourg take any momentum in the game. And I thought Northern Ireland were fantastic. I'm getting this feeling, William, that it's the second coming of Michael O'Neill, where the spirit of 2016 is coming back. You know, you get those vibes after a game like that, don't you? Heading into I know we headed into the Germany game, but the Luxembourg game for me has given me hope that our national country has half a chance of actually doing something in the group. As ecstatic, absolutely fantastic, and another big congratulations to the guys that were over in Luxembourg and the guys that have travelled up since then. Absolutely fantastic, and their numbers superb.
Yeah, 100%. That put us top of the group, and I shared the picture because I was like, right, we're going to milk it for as long as possible because we knew we were playing Germany next. So we were like, look, the red hands at the top, we're putting the picture up, we're milking it for about 3 or 4 days that we can. And because we knew we were probably going back down again. But going away to Germany, Baz, Scotty, I don't know if you watch much of Germany, mate, at the minute. They haven't been playing too great. They're under a new manager and stuff. But unfortunately, we didn't help ourselves because it was a bit of a mix-up in the defence. And next minute, they went and scored. But we came back, got a goal again, made it 1 each. But the team, we were just dead in our feet towards the second half. And unfortunately, Germany's class sort of took us over. But it's not an embarrassing result to lose in Germany, 3-1. But look, 2 games in, we're the only team out of the group that hasn't played a home match yet. We're the only ones that haven't, and we're sitting second. And I'd have took that after having to go away to Luxembourg and Germany.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, I didn't see the entire game last night. I managed to get some sort of highlights this morning. And again, I've been very vocal in this. I don't think this is a Germany team that we're used to. I think it's a Germany team very much in transition. And I thought after the game and they lost on Thursday to Slovakia, I was like, already Northern Ireland, that Slovakia home game in October looks massive. Like if you can I think Germany will beat Luxembourg. If all 3 sides are in 6 points going into a home game with Germany, you just never know. Do you know what I mean? Like that is, you never know. I think you would take second place. Do you know what I mean? Like I do think that Germany will probably have enough to go through. If you can get to kind of get into that last game. Slovakia played Germany last game, so what you're kind of hoping is maybe Germany have enough in the locker going into that game, and if Northern Ireland can beat Luxembourg at home in the last game, Germany maybe do Slovakia do us a wee favour and beat Slovakia, and you can get into the playoffs. Like that's probably what you're wanting, isn't it?
I think the worst thing to happen actually was Slovakia beating Germany.
Yeah.
Because that, and then they got a late goal last time. Fair play to them. They got an amazing 2-0 result against any German side for Slovakia is amazing. And then away from home in Luxembourg in the 90th minute, they got a goal to go 6 points, which is fantastic for them, because they're a bit like our smaller. Well, they're bigger nation than us, but you know what I mean? They're not one of the nations that expected to do those things, But what do you think, Baz, of where we're sitting on the table, sort of going into the next batch of games? Because 2 big games in Belfast coming, and you know yourself, anything can happen at Windsor Park.
We've had very glorious nights at Windsor Park famously against England with David Healy, and famously with David Healy again against Spain. So, it won't be the first time that we have been underdogs in Belfast to play these teams. Now, Slovakia wouldn't be at the level of England or Spain, but the Northern Ireland fans will be well up for it. You're sitting second, and the momentum's there. That there's a great set of young lads there playing, Scott. Really good top young lads. And we do have some of the players like, see, Connor Bradley, Trey Hume. They're Premier League established players. These are good players. You know, Bradley plays for Liverpool. Trey Hume's playing in a great Sunderland team at the minute. They're flying. So we have really positive players in our squad. Young Price, I think, could actually be playing in the Premier League. I think I actually wanted Rangers to sign him, Scott. I actually thought he would have been a perfect player up at Glasgow. But the momentum's there, William. And, 4 points. You're right, totally right. Before the 2 games, if somebody had said you've been sitting second in the table, heading back to Belfast to play Slovakia, you'd have taken it all day long. So very proud of the team, very proud of the fans that were over there, conducted themselves in great manner, as per usual. And Michael O'Neill's doing a fantastic job again. I think Northern Ireland has a great chance in this group, and really it'll all depend on what Germany does with the rest of these teams. I think that's where it's going to tell.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I was actually, I think I wasn't sure until last night. A wee stat came out that Northern Ireland's the only team in the world they actually beat Germany home and away in qualifiers, which is pretty good. And that German team, apart from it shows you how big the Slovakia result was, because the last time that Germany lost any qualifying games in the Euros and the World Cup qualifiers by more than 2 goals was back when England beat them at 5-1 when Michael Owen scored. So it shows you they're just a military operation of they just go ahead and they never get embarrassed. It's just a constant war machine. So for Slovakia to do that and us to give ourselves a good showing last night. But as we said last night, we'll take them to Belfast and we'll see if they can handle the pressure at Windsor Park. And I think we'll be doing okay. But what about yourself, Scotty, with the Scotland setup, mate? I would say, like, looking on paper, to be fair, on paper, that's probably one of the best Scotland teams you could have. You know what I mean? But it's trying to get them playing. You know what I mean? You've got an Aston Villa captain. You've got you've Robertson there from Liverpool. You've got class right through the team. But it just doesn't seem to be working for you at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably spend all night in this, but yeah, I mean, it's all well and good having the players. It's you need the right coach, and I would say Northern Ireland probably do. They have somebody who's, I think, maybe been to clubs and maybe realised that I'm probably better as an international manager. I think that's Michael O'Neill's specialty now. Yeah, Steve Clarke, I'm not a fan. I don't think I'll be alone in that. I think Scotland are, I mean, it was a decent point we got in Denmark. I don't think particularly we played well, but it was a decent enough point. Negative is probably the best word to start. Steve Clarke. We've been to 2 tournaments, and I don't think we gave a good account of ourselves in either of them. We got an absolute demolition by Germany the first game. Second game was decent against Switzerland. You have to win against Hungary, and he plays this 4-5-1 that is the most negative approach. You won't see any of the other 23 teams play that negatively in the Euros, and Scotland did and ended up going out. And again, get a hiding with Greece in the Nations League. Greece are in the group. I think Greece will probably win the group. I think the best team in the group, to be honest. They absolutely scudded Belarus out 5-0. And again, they're probably tonight, like similar to us. Scotland need to win tonight against Belarus, but if Greece beat Denmark, I'm already thinking second place is the absolute maximum for Scotland. Because I just think Greece are just at the... I don't think Greece are at the kind of stage of like a golden generation as such, but I was very impressed with them when they beat Scotland in March in the Nations League. So hopefully win tonight. Greece at Hampden next, then Belarus home. 2 home games as well for us. If we can get 4 points if we can get 7 points from the next 9, that's 2 games against Belarus, then it gives us something to play for when we go to Greece and then home to Denmark last game. But there's also a part of me thinking if we don't qualify, surely this is the end of the road for Clarke, and maybe if we can get David Moyes out of Everton or something, or just maybe even a foreign approach, like something different, because I just think Steve Clarke has run his course, and I'm not a fan of his negative approach. Even when we get to major tournaments, I'm not Steve Clarke's biggest fan. But hopefully tonight we got a wee bit of a lift, a wee win, and it's all to play for going into the next 4 games. But yeah, the sooner Clarke's gone, the better for me.
What do you think of that, Bosley? And Scotty's got his flags nailed to the mast. Get him out. A bit like the Martin situation, isn't it?
I've been of that mindset since 2021, and yeah, he's took us to 2 major tournaments, and that's fine. But it's all well and good getting to major tournaments when you get there and you just completely let down the nation, which I feel as if we do. Then I don't have any qualms of saying we need a better manager. I was very much in the David Moyes train after the Euros last year when he wasn't at Everton yet, and I think it'd be very hard to get him out of a job. But we seem to have a real weirdness of not going foreign. Bertie Votes was 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like we can try it again. Like you're seeing England are doing it. Like there's a lot of clubs in the continent who are having success. I think a foreign approach is probably the best. And again, like we'll get into talking about where Rangers are at in terms of kind of their managerial philosophy. You don't have to keep doing the same thing all the time. You don't have to go completely off, right? We just need to go and get the most hot Scottish manager available. Steve Clark's not that anymore. We can try something different. Like, that's why a lot of these nations have the success. Like, I don't think there's a crop of Scottish managers coming about who's going to take this job. Cast the net a bit and see where we go, because we can only go up from here, in my opinion. Like, if we don't qualify from this group, I think there's major problems. Like, I've never seen Scotland at a World Cup, by the way. Like, never. I was born in '96. I was 2 in France '98. So I've never seen Scotland at a World Cup. But I want to see Scotland at a World Cup where they can do themselves justice. I don't think we will if Steve Clark's the manager. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a bit like Northern Ireland at the Euros, Scott, when we made their buzz. You know, we knew we weren't going to win the thing. You know, but to be fair, Michael O'Neill went out and played football, and we got a couple of results. Yeah. We ended up getting out of the group by being brave. The likes of Ukraine result, you know, and the Poland, and we obviously had Germany in our group as well. But it's all about. I know what you're saying. There's no point making it there just to sit back and get beat anyway. You're better off, lads, aren't you? Just going out and having a bit of fun and going. And I think most of the nation, like the Scotland and Northern Ireland, I think we'd all be like, if we were to get beat and put out, at least we'd be like, well, at least we'll give it a good go, rather than watching the negativeness, you know, when you get these tournaments.
Absolutely. And if you look at the Scotland setup, there's 2 or 3 players playing in Italy and they're ripping those league up. It's crazy, Scott, when you see, I don't watch a lot of Scotland, so I'm not going to give a huge opinion on it. But what I would say is, you know, if you look at the Northern Ireland setup and you look at the Scotland setup, the Scotland players that you have to what we have are definitely playing on far higher realms. There's no doubt about that. And when I see those amount of players that Scotland has, and you don't see Steve Clark unleashing these guys on these teams and letting them play, letting them express themselves like they do in their club football, then it becomes a serious problem for Scotland. I think one of Scotland's biggest problem is they don't have that good goal poaching number 9. I think that is a problem for Scotland. The days are gone of the Ollie McCoys and all them boys. You know, they don't come through anymore. But the midfield, Scott, the names you have in that midfield is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, as you say, like Scott McTominay's a Ballon d'Or nominee. Like, I don't remember a Scotland player being a Ballon d'Or nominee in my kind of lifetime, but he's improved massively. John McGinn, you can say what you want, what he's like in terms of overall ability, but he is a talisman. Do you know what I mean? He's done very well for himself in terms of where he's went to Aston Villa. Like, Lewis Ferguson is beginning to get in now. Like, I was somebody who was very much of the opinion Rangers should have signed Lewis Ferguson when he was at Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
That was one of the biggest kind of... Lennon Miller now coming through, who's now at Udinese. Like, there's a lot of Scottish players who are beginning to go and try casting it out and go to like Italy and get big moves, and that's where they're going. You mentioned about the lack of a number 9. Like, Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams are not going to get you to a major tournament. Like, they're not. Like, it's just that's maybe one of that in defence. I think defence, although Suter's playing, and I think Suter did fine the other night as well. Like, Grant Hanley was playing next to him. Like, I think you need better than that kind of thing. And like, even like Aaron Hickey, I really like Aaron Hickey, but he's just coming back to fitness. Midfield, I think Scotland are pretty good. It's just the other parts. Goalkeeper, I think the 2 big positions are goalkeeper and striker. Like, the currently, I mean, Angus Gunn, Xander Clark, Liam Kelly. I'm as much. I mean, Liam Kelly's obviously the Rangers, but he's not a he's not a Scotland number. He's not a Rangers number one either, kind of thing. I think you need better in that position, and I think you need a better striker. And fingers crossed we get one, and hopefully they can maybe help us.
Yeah. What about young? Sorry, I just wanted to cut in there. What about Ben Doak? Scott?
Yeah, good player. I mean, good player. I think the thing as well, still only 19, and just got a big move to Bournemouth as well, but hasn't played a lot of football. Like I was looking at this other day, he's only played 37 career games since, and 24 of those were last season with Middlesbrough, where he did okay, but it was like you would expect him maybe to do better. I think he is one of the ones I'm most excited about. But again, like Clark has a tendency not to play wingers. Like at his midfield four the other night was McTominay, McGinn, Christie, and Ferguson, and he played a fat four in midfield. Like, where's your width there? Where's your wingers kind of thing? Like, he brought on Doak towards the end, and he did fine. But again, like, if you're going to play wingers, you've got to have a system that suits them, and we don't. So hopefully he does get a run in the team. I think he needs more of an established run at club level as well. He's went to Bournemouth, big money. Hopefully he gets a bit of a run and gets to the point where you can't afford not to play him. Because I think like bringing him on for 10, 15 minutes, it's not really working, kind of thing. Like hopefully, he's one of them. Him and Lennon Miller are the two I'm really excited about. Kieran Bowie as well, the boy at Hibs, I think can do pretty well. I think he is maybe with a bit more games can be that number 9 figure. But I think there's a few exciting players coming through with Scotland. It's just are they going to get the opportunity in this team under this manager? That's my big worry.
Well, the last thing international-wise, because the Iron Brew Bear, he's starting to go to sleep on us here in international football. But we're going to bring it on. This is the last international team we'll talk about tonight, but it brings it into what we're wanting to talk about on the show anyway, which was Nico Raskin. So just a few stats. Nico Raskin got his first ever goal for Belgium. Started 2 shots on target, 89% pass accuracy, 6 out of 8 ground duels, 1, 3 out of 5 aerial duels, 1 clearance and 5 tackles, 1 in the midfield. Well, that comes on to why is that man not playing in that Rangers team, Scott? What's your thoughts on that, mate? You know, there's not many players that could be starting for Belgium, wouldn't get into a Scottish League team, but unfortunately, himself and the manager is a bit of a argument there. We thought he would maybe leave Nico on the transfer, and luckily enough, it didn't happen. He's still with us, and obviously, Kevin Thelwell said as soon as Nico comes back, the first thing they're going to do is get their heads around the table, have a chat about it, iron out whatever's wrong, and move forward. But what's your thoughts on Nico Raskin and the whole situation, Scott?
I think it's incredibly unfortunate because, as you say, there's a Belgium international who's not playing for Rangers. But I am very interested to see what these talks lead to, because I think the tale of Nico Raskin and Russell Martin's been quite interesting, because I think we all agreed last season he was probably Rangers' best player. Now, the argument I've had is, was he the best player in a bad team? I think there's a case of that. Or did he just elevate his level so much that he's now undroppable in the Rangers team? That, again, is an interesting debate for another day. Raskin was playing. Like, Raskin, I mean, I felt when early days of Martin, he's kind of played Raskin out in the kind of midfield left. I don't think that's how you get the best out of Nico Raskin. It's more where is the best. I think he's one of these players who will be very much part of a 2 as opposed to a 1. Like the way kind of Martin changed his philosophy for the midfield and last Sunday, I found very interesting, because he played 2 sitters and 1 in front, whereas the entire time it's been 1 sitter, 2 forward, which I think is probably better with the 2 in the I thought Rangers midfield was far more industrious in that regard, just with Barron and Diamandi. And I think I don't know whether the long-term plan maybe is Raskin and Rothwell. Rothwell needs to seriously improve and build his fitness back up. But Raskin, to me, I think will probably be better in that kind of 2, and it gives him a bit more protection as well. Nico Raskin's too good not to be playing for Rangers. I don't think there was any doubt of him leaving. I was always very confident he would stay. unless some ridiculous offer came in, I was very confident he would be staying at Rangers. The two kind of sides of it, as though, is he going to be a big part of this Rangers team? I think he should be. I think he's Rangers' probably prize asset. It is just a case of, can he get, are him and Martin going to click? Is it a case of Raskin maybe being in the dressing room, maybe not having the, because I always felt last season, I don't know what you guys are like with this, Raskin was always a player to me who was like, right, if nobody's doing this, I'm going to do it. Kind of thing, I'm going to take this. And I don't know if necessarily that's what Martin wants in a player, but it's sort of what Rangers have needed. Like, the Motherwell comments were quite interesting because I think Raskin was probably the target of that. Takes him out the team for the Poulsen game and the Dundee game, and then he's back in, and then he's out for the Bruges. Not starting against Bruges, I was very surprised with. I was even if the two of them have had a fight in the dressing room, that midfield was completely not equipped for that, and it needed somebody like Raskin just for his energy alone. You needed a player like Raskin in there just to avoid what happened. I don't think it's 6-0 if Raskin plays, just because I don't think Nico Raskin's allowing some of the horrendous goals that happen. Do you know what I mean? He's tracking back a bit. I think as well the problem is Nico Raskin's not a complete footballer. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of potential there. I still think his passing range at times is maybe a bit off for a total number 6. I think at times he maybe goes in a bit too early in tackles where he can take his time a bit. But there's a lot of evidence there to say Nico Raskin should be the kind of beating heart of this Rangers side. And I think he will be. I don't see Russell Martin, especially when he's under the pressure he is, taking Raskin out the side. If Rangers had lost on Sunday, the first question Martin would have been asked is, would that have happened if Raskin was playing? So that was a gamble on Martin's part. Now, the result wasn't a terrible one. It was a draw. Again, I thought the midfield was pretty good against Celtic, but Raskin should be the focal point of that for me. Now, it's just where do you fit him? How do you build this around him? Because I think that's the sort of thing you have to do. And you've also got the contract thing as well. His contract is, I think he's only got 18 months left after January. So to me, with World Cup coming up as well, you have to tie him down, but you also have to make him a key part of the side, or we're not getting anywhere here. I hope things get resolved and Raskin can play a part, because he's too good to be sitting in the stands.
Yeah. No, I'm nodding with a lot of what you're saying there, Scotty, because that's my thoughts. I think a lot of what you said is exactly my thoughts as well, especially with the passing thing. We know he's not the complete player. You know what I mean? He'll not pass. He will the odd time, but more often than not, that's not his game. But the tracking back, the winning tackles, and doing the short passes just to get the ball going again, and that's invaluable to every team, especially in Scotland. Baz, what's your thoughts on the whole Nico Raskin? I know you love him, like you wanted him captain from the start of the season. You said that at the very start of the season, the end of last season. But like Scotty again, who said there, it seemed to be the only player that was doing anything, and it seems to be anytime there's a bad challenge or there's a throw in, or if there's and it's he's the only one that runs over to the referee and is like, wait, that's ours, or that our tackle was bad. We don't have enough talkers in the team, and to lose Nico is not great for that Rangers team, especially if the Rangers team is struggling.
Oh yeah, Nico Raskin's the leader on the pitch. He's been like that, especially since Barry Ferguson had got his hands on him. That's when he's really elevated his vocals on the pitch. Because Barry Ferguson, I think Barry Ferguson looked at Raskin and went, right, he's a wee bit of a talker back, but what's best for the team? How am I going to get results? Well, the best way is play Nico Raskin in his proper position and let him loose. Some managers don't like that. Russell Martin, to me, likes 11 robots in the pitch that are drilled into their heads exactly what he's asking them to do, and he doesn't want anybody disrupting that. That's what I get from Russell Martin. Now, what I would say is, if Nico has been a wee bit mischievous around the squad, and he's been causing a wee bit of trouble, well then Nico needs to rein that in as well. So the club with Raskin and Martin are really going to have to sort this out, because in the interim, Scott, Rangers are not going to sack Russell Martin. Not at this moment in time, unless we have the next 2 games are horrific. Unless we have 2 really bad games, Russell Martin's here to stay. And if Nico Raskin wants to get back into the fold, he's going to have to meet in the middle somewhere, and they're going to have to come to some type of compromise. And that means Russell Martin looking at Raskin and thinking, like Ferguson done, right, he's a wee bit mischievous, but if I can get the best out of him in the pitch, at this moment in time, that's what Russell Martin needs. He needs results, and it's in wins, no more draws. He needs wins, and he needs winners on the pitch. And for me, Raskin just has the abundance of that. Nico Raskin's playing with guys like Kevin De Bruyne, Tillmans. These guys are winners, serial winners. That's what they do. And at the minute, he's playing in a Rangers team with a lot of players that don't have the same mentality. Do you understand?
Key, yeah. No, mentality's key, especially at Rangers. And I'm agreeing with what you're saying, and it is just a case of, at the moment, like, this isn't the fight Russell Martin needs to be having at this point, kind of thing. Like, I'm not, as I imagine a lot of the people in the comments will be, I'm not in the like sack him, we need to get rid no matter what. I'm not in that. Like, I do think this is a long-term project, and I don't think, unless he doesn't beat Hibs and Hearts, I think he is probably here to stay for a bit. Like, it's a long-term project, but what you don't do at the start of when Rangers have had very few fan favourite players, I would say Raskin's in that category, and to kind of fall out with him really early on is not a great start. I know results haven't been good and performances haven't been good, but that's another thing you just don't need to be doing. Now, again, we don't know what's happened behind the scenes, but to me, that's just one of those, right, can we reach a compromise here? Nico, you're probably one of the best. You're the best midfielder in this team. You need to be playing in this team. How do we fit this midfield to suit everybody involved? Because to me, it was Rothwell sitting as the 6, Raskin and Diamande, and I just didn't feel that balance worked. And then when Raskin sat back a bit, I was like, right, okay, that's better. But I'm very interested to see Raskin and another maybe sitting in a 2 with somebody in front of them, whether it's Asgard or Barami, whoever it is. That's where I'm most interested to see what happens, whether it's even Raskin or Barron or Raskin and Cameron. There's a lot of midfield options there. And I don't think Raskin has to play every single game, because that's what a squad's for. But big games, Celtic, Europe, Hearts, Hibs, Raskin needs to be played. And we've seen enough to say that Raskin's the right mentality for the club. And Raskin's in a bad... Do you know what I mean? Raskin didn't have the best start. Raskin hasn't been a complete player since he signed. Raskin was... For what I was told, Raskin was told he could leave a bit before Clement came in. Like, he wasn't fancied, and then he's completely taken his game to another level, and now he's the player where if Rangers do move him on, you're hoping for, what, 15, 20 million minimum? But I do think Raskin's overall game maybe isn't what Martin wants at this point, but there needs to be that's how you become an elite coach. You ground your players to how you want them to. One of my biggest things at the moment is I feel the players are being overcoached and or can't do what they're being asked. But I think Raskin is maybe the opposite of that. I think he's like, right, what are you wanting me to do here? Right, I'm doing what I'm doing, but the people around me aren't. And I think he's the kind of frustrating type who'll maybe vocalise that, which I don't think is Martin's style. I don't think Martin will be. I don't think Martin likes being confronted in a talking sense, football wise. And he's not the first coach. You know what I mean? He's not the first coach like that. I think we know for Russell Martin is he's very set up in his beliefs. And if Raskin's challenging that, I just don't think that's going to end well. But I'm also quite happy Raskin's doing that. If Raskin isn't seeing the results, he's also going to say, this isn't going to work. So I think it's been that. Don't think it's been Raskin applying for a move or anything like that. I think it's more Raskin maybe isn't happy what he's doing in the park or isn't seeing the best results. And instead of maybe having a conversation, Raskin's maybe the shouting type, and it isn't gelling. But that's why these talks are quite important. Get this sorted and get Raskin playing, because he shouldn't be sitting he wasn't even sitting in the stands in the Celtic game. He was told not to get near the ground. Like, he should be playing. He should have been playing. And we don't need this at this point. Rangers need to win games. They can't have drama. And this is a drama that needs fixed.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you there, mate. It's because we've been through too much crap and nonsense for far too long, and obviously everyone was excited with the 49ers coming in, and obviously Russell Martin wasn't the one that most fans wanted, but he's in now, and that's just the way it is. But hopefully it turns around. I just want this to be like a factory reset, this international break. Just hit the reset button, and with the Raskin situation, the whole, what annoys me is, Scott, is just wee silly comments like the Dundee game, when after the match we drew the match, we just about drew that match against a very poor Dundee side, in my opinion. And then you get Russell Martin coming out and going, like, we and the team were a bit surprised how they set up the day. And I'm sitting there going, you can't, that's a nonsense, because I watched the Dundee team playing Hibs at their own ground. Dundee was at home, and I don't think that they hadn't a single player over the park for so much of the first half. So you know what way these teams are going to set up. Russell Martin's been here before, so it shouldn't really be a shock to him. Like the Dundee coming and defending at Ibrox, so I thought that was a wee bit strange. But listen, hopefully as I say, the reset button's hit. We've got a few players in the window, quite a lot, but a few of them laid on there, and hopefully we can just, everything can turn around. But he is going to have to get results soon, Scott. And
Russell Martin said when he got the job, I've watched videos. Now, if he's watched videos of Rangers last season, he's watched Rangers playing against a low block against most of the team in Scotland, right? Because that's every Rangers team of my lifetime has been against a low block against nine of the 12 teams, 9 of the 11 teams usually play with a low block when they go to Ibrox or away from home. So Russell Martin can't be surprised when Dundee come to Ibrox and play with a low block. And one of the big reasons why I was like, right, let's give Russell Martin a chance, was I thought he would be better against a low block. I had the defensive questions, as I still do, but I was like, right, Russell Martin will get this, how to break this down. And apart from 60 minutes against Pilsen, there hasn't been that performance where I can hang my hat and go, you are going to make this work. So he needs to get Hearts is maybe a good game for him, because I don't think Hearts will be a complete low block, because they will fancy their chances coming to Ibrox. Yeah. Hearts had a really good run. If Hearts beat Rangers, they're 8 points clear of them. That's not great. But
crazy.
Hearts won't sit in and think, right, we're just here for a point. Hearts will fancy their chances. But that hopefully presents an opportunity for Rangers to open up, be a bit more adventurous. I just think Rangers have been very safe and slow so far. This is the opportunity to really get things sorted and break things down. Very interested to see how he lines up. Will he go with the two up front? I hope so. I'm very much an advocate for, let's get these guys both playing. Two strikers is better than one, and the one up front for me hasn't been working. Like Miovski and Chamiti, from what I can gather from Chamiti is he's very much a hold the ball up type of striker, run the channels. Miovski, we know, is a finisher who can also hold the ball up. So I hope they can complement each other, and I hope we see a bit more. And if we get, I think we'll do a performance. I hope we get it against Hearts. And then Martin always does say his teams click, and when they click, they go on runs. Hopefully Saturday's the start of that.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully so, mate. And as Scott said, they're bars as Russell did say, once it clicks, it'll go. You have to go through a bit of pain. Well, I want no more pain for a while, please. Let's start seeing some results. But it did. I will say, and I know the Rangers Celtic game was pretty crap. We can all be honest there. I think it was two very poor teams. Both came off very poor results.
Neither side wanted to get beat.
Yeah, no team wanted to get beat.
Yeah.
And he was happy enough then just to sure. And he said, Russell Martin said himself, it was all more about the defensively because of the hammering they took, blah, blah, blah. But hopefully he's learned a few lessons, as I say, again, as Scotty said, in the Hearts game, and we can start to go on this run, because it needs to happen, because the pressure's on.
The pressure's on, all right. The problem for Russell Martin is every single game the rest of the season, the pressure's on for him. Doesn't matter, it's a Scottish Cup, it's the League Cup, it's Europe, it's the SPFL. Every single game is huge for him, because as soon as we've got to the point now where when Rangers have the ball in the middle of the park, you see as soon as the midfielder looks like he wants to pass back, you can feel that energy in the crowd going. You know, they're automatic. It's just got to that point now where the fans are like, no more pass back. We don't need a pass back. Get the ball forward. And I understand tactics. I understand that there's a moment where you choose to make the forward pass and make a good forward pass. But at the minute, Rangers aren't really doing any forward passing. It's a lot of stagnant, passy, a lot of possession, doesn't really do much. And I actually, when you look back, I watched the game against the Emmons in the Old Firm again, and we really had a great opportunity to win that game. If we had really just really been so much braver with the ball, we actually would have beat the Emmons. I'm totally 100% in my head thinking that's 100%. And I just think sometimes Russell just parks the brake a wee bit too much. I mean, Scott, you were talking about Clark for Scotland, and sometimes Martin does that at Rangers. He just doesn't let the players to build momentum, and you know, sometimes it's good. Sometimes when you're attacking, you're not always going to get what you want, but if you keep attacking and you keep attacking, eventually those chances are going to come.
So I'm very much, I'm not disagreeing with it, but I was at the Alloa game, and there were 10 or 12 times where, do you remember when, obviously Dessers is in there now, but do you remember, like, I think it was the Alloa game or the whatever home game it was, Suter was just trying to play this inside pass to Dessers all game, and it just kept getting dispossessed, or Dessers wouldn't hold it up. And about 10 or 12 times he was trying this, and it kept going away, and I was like, why is he keep trying to do that? But Martin was obviously wanting, that was obviously something they'd worked on, was that ball. But that's where Martin as a manager has to go, right, okay, this isn't working 2 or 3 times. Don't keep trying this. Try something different. But then the other side of it is, I can see when like the ball's getting played back, I can see Martin losing his mind in the touchline. Like, I don't think Martin is necessarily telling them always be safe. I think it's either one of two things. It could be a mixture of the two. I think there's either Martin and the coaching staff are giving the players way too much information, and they're not taking it on board, which could be happening, or they are getting the information and they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to work it, right? Now, that's seriously concerning in one or two ways, because that's either the players not taking it on board or they can't take it on board, right? That, to me, isn't completely on the manager. Now, I'm not defending the manager here. I think the manager has to make serious improvements to make this work. But I think the players need to take a wee bit of responsibility as well here of, if you are doing the same thing constantly and it's not working, you don't just keep trying it. That's how you lose goals. Like, they're trying, like, a couple of times they were trying the long ball to Miovski in the Old Firm, and I was like, right, they haven't tried this yet because they haven't had the striker to run into the channels and run and try and kind of chase balls. So they're beginning to do that. They're beginning to find a rhythm here. It's just, can they try be a bit more adventurous, try things that maybe haven't worked in the past, but see when you're trying things 12, 13 times and they're not working, pivot to something else. Do you know what I mean? Use your wide players. I really like Oliver Antman. Like, I'm a massive fan of the Eredivisie. I love Oliver Antman as a player. His first game against Poulsen, I thought it was sensational. I haven't seen that since, and I think the reason for that is that he's being told to come inside too often, and he's not that. I've never seen him do that. He is a winger who operates on the byline, either crossing in or going himself in the byline. He's not a guy that cuts in. Gassama's maybe that on the other side, but you don't need two that do the same job. Just let the players do what the players are good at. Let them do it. Don't overcoach them. And I think that's a problem in football as a whole. Like, I see players just being, their entire capabilities just being coached out of them by trying to play a system that they're not suited to. But this is the chance where we're like, right, okay, he can do this, let them do it, as opposed to, no, you need to do this first and then worry about that later. You don't let players be football players as opposed to machines, because that's what it feels like at times watching Rangers. It's so slow, it's so turgid, it's so routine, and the routine isn't working. So let them try the other stuff. Do you know what I mean? I mean, one of the big problems I had with the Bruges game was, and I do think Max Aarons probably didn't want to be part of that. But if you watch that back, how many times was that high ball on? What other option does Max Aarons have? He's got to try and bring him down, or that's a goal, because the line is so high. And that was one of the things in the Celtic game where I turned around to who I was watching it with, and I was going, he's learned that. He's learned a wee bit now, because Rangers did not have a high line at all in the Celtic game. Like,
no,
they didn't, and that was probably because of the threat of Maeda's pace. But that high line hasn't worked at all. So don't keep trying it. Do you know what I mean? That's where you get better as a coach. That's where I was hoping Russell Martin would have learned, because he was too focused on his plan at Southampton. That's why he lost his job. You have to be pragmatic. You have to change approaches here. We've seen it with Mark Warburton. He would not change. Lost his job. Russell Martin has to learn from that, or he's going to have a similar fate. This is his time where he's got a month. He can't drop another league point in that month, or I do think it's really hard to turn it round. It's hard anyway, but he needs to win every game from now to probably Christmas, especially in the league. He has to, every game you have to see something different. You have to see you have to find that performance first of all, because other than Poulsen, I haven't seen that performance where I'm like, you are the right guy here. It just needs some time and it needs players. It's just, can he fix the problems that are there and are very noticeable? That's the big test for him in the next month or so.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And a bit like what you said with the Ant-Man situation, what I don't understand, like, why look for a player and go, right, you see him in the Eredivisie, the way he plays, and you're like, right, I want him. He does that job well. And then bring the player and ask them to play a completely different game from the reason that you wanted him in the first place. It's very counterproductive to me, But we're sort of ending. We're coming towards the end. Hopefully next Monday show's a wee bit more lively because the football will be back, and hopefully Rangers will have had a win. But Scott, it's been absolutely amazing having you on, mate. If you just want to run it down again, what you do, and let the listeners know how to follow you and stuff, and where they can catch you at the SM Media.
Yes, you find us on X, SM Media ENT. You'll find consistent coverage on Scottish football. Ryder Cup season's coming up as well, so we'll be very focused on the golf. We're getting into the jump season and racing as well, so we'll be busy with that. But yeah, daily content in terms of football. There's everything on the channel. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, any social media as well. You'll find us there. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
You're more than welcome, Scott. And I'd say any time we'll get you on again throughout the season. When it's not an international break, it's more just there's more happening, obviously. But it's been more of a quiet one this week because people's just sort of fed up the internationals, boys, aren't they? They just want to get the football, the proper football back.
Okay, well, it was good for Northern. It was actually a nice break for Northern Ireland, to be fair, and I enjoyed. I have to say, actually, it's the first time I've enjoyed international football in a while. On a Northern Ireland perspective, it was pretty good now, to be fair. But yes, nothing beats Rangers playing, and nothing beats trying to find out how we're going to play and whether we're going to get that first win. So it's all great. And Scott, some of your insight tonight's been fantastic, mate. Really, really well detailed. I enjoyed listening to you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Yep, I agree. It's been an absolutely fantastic guest and always welcome. So just hit us a message anytime, Scott. You know that. You'll always be more than welcome with us, mate. Thank you, everyone that's been listening. As I say, we'll be back again Monday. I think I'm going to do the wee Ulster Bear Friday show. I've got a wee guest lined up, so I'll confirm that hopefully tomorrow, and we'll have an RB show out Friday, me and a special guest from here talking about his Rangers story. But apart from that, we will see you very, very soon. Thank you for watching, as always, guys.